Today we're going to take some time because we're explicitly making this video painful. This is on that one time your mind broke. We're going to do it in the form of a 5-minute meditation. So, wherever you are, if it's safe, feel free to close your eyes and allow me to guide your thoughts for a little bit. We're going to do a tentative 5-minute discussion, but we'll see how long it lasts. Start it now. If you haven't done any meditation before, meditation is quieting your brain, which is why you're encouraged to close your eyes. And the point is to clear your mind completely. And this isn't something that a YouTube video is necessarily good for. Because not only is there noise, not only is there things happening, not only is there sometimes music underneath, but there's visual noise. There's things to look at. There are transitions. There are little pictures. Sometimes there's movies to follow along with. Sometimes there's skits. It's not a very calm medium. In fact, what works the best is juvenile and loud. And it keeps you from thinking. And it keeps you watching. I want to give you time to think. So in meditation, it's important to first control your breath. We do this to be aware of our body, of our hands, what they touch, of our feet. I'll stop petting the cat, I'm sorry. Oh, you're so pretty. You take long breaths. I'll try to meditate with you as I organize my thoughts. Long, shallow breaths. And you can do this wherever you are, however you're watching this. Now, normally with meditations, they'll try to keep it vague, but yet positive. Sometimes with guided meditations, they take an abstraction of your pain, of your darkness, and they have you breathe it out. They give you images of mountains and paths, your connection to the earth. They fly you into space. And I do appreciate those. I like those a lot. I like that imagery a lot. Of being aware of just how small we are. Trying to put a perspective on our problems. Thinking about how giant the world is. Yes. But today I want you to go to your painful memory. That time where your mind broke. You've probably thought of it by now. Probably the first thing that you should know about it is what you remember is fiction. Your memory is mostly fiction. You know the general details of what happens, the general wide strokes, sounds, smells. Probably what you remember most is how you felt. But those are all fictionalized. Your brain doesn't memorize your surroundings. Your brain doesn't memorize the words, word for word. You don't recall the sensations. You think of the thing, and your brain colors in the details. Colors of people's shirts. And sometimes that memory can be altered. Oh, it's been 5 minutes already. Wow, I underestimated how much I had to say. Let's get that going again. Remember to control your breathing. The other thing about how it's altered is how you feel in that moment is altered. Even if you have a memory of feeling confused or sad or concerned or angry, those emotions are multiplied by you remembering them, by the significance you've given this memory. Now, what I mean by when your mind breaks is complicated. We think of the world through a set of rules, through morals, through relationships. And if someone plays video games or is used to media, they may think that the world goes across a certain pattern, that there are rules that if we do, something will happen to us. That's why people believe in karma. That's why people believe in comeuppance. That's why people take satisfaction when something bad happens to someone who is terrible. But the world is more chaotic than that. Things that happen don't often have significance. We assign them significance. And I want you to hold on to that first thing you thought of when I talked about when your mind broke. And it might not match what I'm describing, and that's fine. It's something that you've held on to. It's something that those words give meaning. And you might not have thought of anything, or you might have thought of something that's trivial. And maybe that's because you're young. Maybe that's because you're not as aware of the people around you as you think you are. To know when your actions are trying to follow a rule set that don't exist. When my mind broke, it was more than 8 years ago. I was going to see a movie. I was going to see a movie with my ex. We had planned this months in advance, before our breakup. And the thing to understand about this breakup is we still liked each other. We still might have even loved each other. And I'm sure I loved her still. Perhaps in a possessive, unhelpful way. But we broke up not because of not liking each other, but because of adult reasons. That our lives wouldn't fit together, that our goals didn't fit together. So she broke up with me. And it was hard. I didn't want to lose her. But I didn't know how to be her friend. Perhaps it's not possible at that time to be her friend. But we had planned to go to a movie, and I had been trying to keep myself in her sphere, in her life. And I was talking to her about going to the movie, and I would have to drive 30 minutes. Let's just do a I was trying to seek a role for her life. If I was this to her, then I could stay around. Our lives could fit together. She could see the value in having me. Of course, it was all a ploy. I didn't know what I wanted. I didn't know what I needed. I didn't know what she wanted, but I wanted to fill that. I wanted to be whatever I could. So I looked at life as a set of roles. I looked at friendship as a give and take. And I tried to find an aspect for me to give to her. To stay. And I slipped in this conversation. I said some junk about finding a role to her. And she reacted simply. People don't have roles to one another. There is no rules for friendship. And I broke. Now, your moment is probably different from mine. I hope that that moment is something that you don't like thinking about. I don't like thinking about it. I want you to take that moment, and I want you to think about how it is now fiction. That you are past it. That you have grown. Just through surviving it. And if it was too new, if it's too recent, then that's okay. But what I want you to do is to forgive yourself. Carrying it around isn't helping you. Especially when what you are carrying is mostly fiction. What you are carrying is emotion. And perhaps it's misplaced, and perhaps it's not. Perhaps it's something really terrible. So, if it's something that terrible, then I want you to break it down. I want you to say that it isn't real. I want you to take the rules that you thought the world was under. And I want you to say that these rules aren't real. You are not that person. And what it might take to let you drop that memory might be a new rule. And that you're fine to pick one out. Don't assume, like I did, that you have possession of other people, that the world works out these rules. Take your lesson from that memory and forgive yourself for the rest. Forgive yourself for the anger. Forgive yourself for the confusion. And I want you to breathe in your new lesson. And I want you to breathe out everything that is not helpful to you. Everything that is not helpful to the people around you. And I want you to think about how everyone has a moment like this, a growing moment, a painful moment, a mistake, the loss of a loved one, a bad reaction. Everyone has that moment. And we all can learn and grow from it. And we can forgive each other for them. And we don't owe each other anything. We don't owe each other attention. We don't owe each other the right to listen to what someone says. We don't owe each other our bodies. We don't owe each other being in the presence of one another. So take this time to be thankful for everyone who hasn't been warded off by your mistakes or your choices. For everyone that chooses to share time and space and their emotions with you. Because together, we can move on and make the world better. But there are certain things that we have to let go in order to run. So I guess we have a 17-minute meditation on our hands. Thank you for watching or listening. There are YouTube things you can do to help me. Put in the comments if you've forgiven yourself for your mind-breaking moment. Share it. Prove to yourself that it doesn't have control over you. And let the other people know that it's safe to share and that they're not the only ones. Thank you.